I love it. I love it. I love it. Look at this. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Hey, I'm not surprised.
Hey, what's poppin', my homies? Hope you're doing well, feeling blessed, having a good day, having a good week. This one's going to be Robert Whittaker taking on RDR in the main event over in the UAE, Abu Dhabi. A pretty stacked UFC fight night. Before we speak about the fights, we look at my bets from last weekend, and just like the week previous, I only won half the lineup. I think if Kevin Holland wins, the lineup would have been good, man. It would have been a good lineup. Why has the homie got to perform like that? You know, getting dropped in round 2, losing round 1, nearly winning, nearly stopping Daniel Rodriguez in that final round. But the homie, man, you let me down. You let me down, Kev. Now moving into the Money City segment, there's only one Money City comment from last week, so shout out to Marnie Kelly. That's money. First matchup on the card, we've got Martin Buday taking on Marcus Buchecha Almeida. And this is going to be low-level heavyweight action. I've never really been a fan of the heavyweight division. I much prefer the weight classes where you've got to be really skilled to win. Putting your money on heavyweights is extremely risky. Now, Martin Buday does have more MMA experience, but he's not exactly high level. His opponent, Buchecha, he's a world-class jiu-jitsu heavyweight. If Buchecha gets Martin Buday to the ground, it's probably game over. It's probably a wrap. There's also a chance that both guys are exhausted past the first round, which turns into a 50-50 type of fight. Something you see quite often with the heavyweights. But my prediction is going to be Martin Buday gets TKO'd or submitted past the first round. I've got a feeling both fighters are going to be gassed going into that second round. And I think it's the Brazilian who ends up getting the knockdowns or takedowns into ground and pound, or even a takedown into a submission. So my prediction is going to be the Brazilian Marcus Buchecha Almeida. Next matchup, we've got Mohammad Yahya taking on Stephen Nguyen. And I've got to be honest, guys, I'm not sure why the UFC signed Mohammad Yahya. I'm assuming it's based on he's a low-paid fighter that you can throw on the Abu Dhabi cards for the Abu Dhabi fans to cheer on. Because when you look at his actual fighting ability, like GSP said, I'm not impressed by your performance. His cardio's bad. He's reckless. He doesn't have the experience that's necessary to compete at the highest level of the game. On the flip side, we've got Stephen Nguyen, who's actually pretty solid. He's pretty good. He's technical. He's got an effective calf kick and works behind the jab, which is always nice to see. The jab is an important weapon, and Stephen Nguyen, he gets it going. I think Stephen Nguyen is clearly the more technical fighter, but I've not seen the odds. Let me see the odds real quick. We've got Stephen Nguyen minus 400. Wow. I mean, it does make sense because Yahya gets tired halfway into round 2. His cardio's not good. So that's when Stephen Nguyen's going to be landing effective calf kicks, solid calf kicks, and the boxing. You know, he's going to box his nose off in the second round. So I'm going to say Stephen Nguyen gets his first UFC win, and probably by stoppage. Next matchup, we've got Aslan taking on Billy Elekana. So basically, someone's going to get dusted. That's what we know for this matchup. Someone's got to get dusted. But who's it going to be? Who's going to visit a galaxy far, far away? Now, Aslan has proven to be a very dangerous puncher. When he gets you backing up to the fence and starts unleashing those bombs in combination, that's when you really see the Turkish power of Aslan. However, his cardio isn't great. If you can extend the fight past round 1, you can win against Aslan. And Billy Elekana might be able to do that. If you look at his debut, he did get destroyed, but he also showcased real toughness and made Guskov really work to find the stoppage. So if Billy Elekana is going to win this fight, it has to be survive round 1, survive that Turkish storm, then go on to break as he slows down in round 2 and round 3. Now I am going to take Aslan to win this fight via KO TKO, but if we go past round 1 and he slows down, it's going to be a bet that we really regret. So I'm not going to bet on Aslan, but I think he can win this fight in the first round, potentially early second round. But if he slows down, we're going to get dusted on the money line. So I am going to avoid Aslan. Next matchup, we've got Amanda Ribas taking on Tabatha Ricci, Brazilian versus Brazilian. And I think this is going to be a very tough fight to predict. We've got Tabatha Ricci, who has amazing judo. She can toss girls through the air. Her jiu-jitsu is also extremely good. Her cardio solid. Her output on the feet is consistent. And her boxing, That's something that's certainly improved in the game of Tabatha Ricci. She's definitely legit. I bet on her against Angela Hill, and that was a close fight, but I got that fight right. Then I bet against her with Yan. I've got a pretty decent read on Tabatha Ricci. Now Amanda Ribas, on her day, can also be a very tough challenge. But sometimes her performance, man, is kinda flat. It's kinda bad. This honestly feels like a split decision type of fight waiting to happen. I expect a very, very close fight. There's going to be moments where Tabatha Ricci, she's winning the grappling. Then there's going to be moments where Amanda Ribas, she turns the tide. She starts to win the grappling. There's going to be moments where Amanda Ribas, she's getting lit up. She's walking into the strikes, into the punches of Tabatha Ricci. And there's going to be times where Ribas, she's landing her own punches. But she does have the mindset of take one to give one. And that's always a risky mindset, because if your nose starts to bleed in those exchanges, take one to give one, or if you land your strike, you land your punch, but you're half a millisecond or half a second too late, the judges can score those exchanges, take one to give one exchanges, where you're both going punch for punch. They can score those exchanges against you. And that's kind of why I think it's going to be a split decision type of fight. I see extremely close rounds between Tabatha Ricci and Amanda Ribas. For me personally, I'm going to sub with Amanda Ribas to win this fight. I think it's going to be a very close fight, like I've already said. But I do believe the experience of Amanda Ribas could help her to steal very close rounds with the judges. But if anyone likes the underdog, I totally understand why. But I'm going to side with Amanda Ribas to win via split. Next matchup, we've got Blackshear taking on Davey Dangerous Grant. Low-key a banger matchup. Low-key a banger matchup, man. And anytime Davey Grant's in a fight, it's low-key a banger. Maybe the UFC didn't like Damon's last performance, where he tried to control things from the outside. That's not something you can easily do against someone like Dangerous Davey Grant. If you try to fight this technical chess match against Davey Grant, good luck. Good luck, man. Because Dangerous Davey Grant will just throw the chessboard. He'll just throw the chessboard. He's not playing that type of game. He's fighting his own chaotic, unpredictable style. And that's what makes him dangerous. Now, Blackshear has amazing jiu-jitsu, so he's potentially looking for a submission against Davey Grant. But Davey Grant has solid, seasoned grappling too. So if anyone gets submitted, it's potentially a club and sub situation. Now, I do expect this fight to be mainly a kickboxing matchup. But here's my issue with Blackshear. I think his cardio dips. You know, past that first round. His first round is very strong, but if you can get into the second and third round, he does start to slow down. And that's maybe why his performance wasn't the most exciting in his last fight. Now, I am going to pick Blackshear to win this fight. My prediction is going to be Blackshear. But it could be a similar situation to Ibo Aslan, where if Davey Grant survives the first round, he could take over and potentially steal the fight and be a very live underdog on this card. But I'm going to stick with Blackshear. He's in good form. The form is good on the side of Damon. So hopefully the good form of Blackshear does continue this weekend against Dangerous Davey Grant. The prediction has to be Blackshear. Next matchup, we've got Muslim Salikhov taking on Carlos Leal. And I'm going to pick Carlos Leal to win this fight. Don't get me wrong. I think Muslim Salikhov is an amazing kickboxer. He's the king of Kung Fu. His kicks are insanely good. His control of the distance between him and his opponent is high level. But here's the thing. At this stage of his career, Muslim Salikhov, his cardio is very bad. He really starts to fall off a cliff past the first 7 minutes of the fight. Midway into round 2, his control really starts to fade. He becomes slower. He becomes stationary. His kicks really start to slow down. And he becomes a sitting duck, waiting to get dusted. And Carlos Leal, on the flip side, has excellent punching power. His low kicks are very effective. He's sharp and consistent. And he's looking good. So far, he's looking good. So I'm going to pick Carlos Leal to get a KO TKO against Muslim Salikhov. And personally, I've got Carlos Leal undefeated in the UFC so far. I know his record says he lost to Rinat Fakhretdinov, but in my opinion, he didn't lose that fight. So for me personally, he's 2-0 inside the UFC. And I believe after this weekend, he stays undefeated. So my prediction is going to be Carlos Leal. Next matchup, we've got Bryce Mitchell taking on Nurmagomedov. So we've got Bryce Mitchell stepping down 10 pounds to the bantamweight division. Recently, we had Vitor Petrino, who moved up a weight class and got a win. We also had Chris Curtis, who moved down a weight class and got a nice win. Will Bryce Mitchell be another fighter who changes weight classes and finds early success? In my opinion, I don't think so. Now, you've got to be a real professional if you're moving up and down weight classes. And I'm not saying that Bryce Mitchell isn't a professional, but I'm not entirely sure I can say Bryce Mitchell has followed the right protocol to drop down a weight class. Bryce Mitchell doesn't train at a high-level gym. He doesn't have great coaches around him. That's always been a red flag for Bryce Mitchell, in my opinion. Now, he does have amazing grappling, and he is physically strong. But that's all I really see in the game of Bryce Mitchell. I don't see a quality boxer. I don't see a dangerous kicker. I don't see someone who has great timing, amazing footwork. There's a lot of things I see missing when I look at the game of Bryce Mitchell. So in my opinion, he's one-dimensional. Now on the flip side, we've got Nurmagomedov, who has excellent striking. He does spin a lot, which maybe isn't a good idea for someone who has cardio issues. He's faded multiple times, has Nurmagomedov. So taking away those spinning kicks, especially against someone who's looking to catch one of those kicks and initiate a takedown from it, that's what Bryce Mitchell wants to do. He wants to catch a kick and work a takedown. But here's the thing, Nurmagomedov has amazing guillotine chokes. He's got multiple submission wins from that guillotine. So if Bryce Mitchell shoots a lazy takedown or gets too predictable with his entries, that guillotine choke is going to be there and it could end the fight. So guys, in my opinion, Nurmagomedov is more well-rounded, he's more skilled, and he's also the more natural bantamweight. The only real concern is going to be the cardio of Nurmagomedov, but I'm still going to take the Russian skill over the one-dimensional farm strength. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take Nurmagomedov, especially at plus money. You know what I'm saying? That's the pick. Next matchup, we've got Nikita Krylov taking on Bogdan Guskov. So Nikita Krylov, he's past his prime, especially after that absolute dusting that he got against Dominic Reyes. And Bogdan Guskov on the flip side, he's doing nice things. He's doing good things at the moment. But the question is he ready for a step up against a veteran like Nikita Krylov? Maybe picking the underdog with Bogdan Guskov isn't a bad call, but he has to avoid the ground because his ground game's pretty bad. We saw that in his UFC debut. Guys, I'm going to make an underdog pick on Bogdan Guskov. If the matchup stays on the feet, he's a live underdog. He's very live because that chin of Nikita, how's that chin doing? Has that chin fully recovered? Or is it a case of the chin actually doesn't fully recover, it only declines? I'm going to say Bogdan Guskov finds the KO TKO against the veteran and arguably the biggest win of his UFC career or career in general. Next matchup, we've got Almabayev taking on Jose Ochoa. And I think it's a pretty simple breakdown here, guys. If Almabayev gets the takedown, if he times his level changes well, he probably dominates this fight on the ground. His grappling control is very solid. His jiu-jitsu is very decent. However, if the fight stays on the feet, recently we've seen how violent Jose Ochoa can be. Just look at how he folded Cody Durden like a deck chair. He dusted Cody Durden. So either the fight stays on the feet and Jose Ochoa wins easily, he's the much better striker of the two, or Almabayev gets those takedowns and delivers a classic Almabayev grappling masterclass. I like Almabayev to win this fight, and I do have a straight bet at -110 on Almabayev. Now, Jose Ochoa is also taking the fight on relatively short notice, which is another factor in my decision to pick and bet Almabayev. I just hope the fight goes to the ground, because if the fight stays on the feet, then my bet's getting cooked. Next matchup, we've got Shara Magomedov taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. Now, round one should be an easy round for Shara Magomedov. Shara has incredible kicks. They're thrown at the speed of light. If you blink, you'll miss the kick of Shara bullet. The kick is thrown like a bullet. It really is. He's got nasty knees. He's got vicious stepping elbows. He can spin, not just once, but twice. The diversity in Shara bullet striking is seriously impressive. That being said though, he's not a great boxer, and his defense is not the best. For obvious reasons, he's blind in one eye. Now, Marc-Andre Barriault, he's coming off a nice win against Bruno Silva, but there's a big skill gap between Bruno Silva and Shara Magomedov. The only real path to victory for Marc-Andre is to walk through the fire in round one. You're going to take a lot of damage early, But if you're still standing after the first 5 minutes, now you've got a real shot, because Shara tends to slow down a little bit, and he also backs himself up against the fence, especially after round 1. So there's definitely a scenario where Marc-Andre, he loses round 1, but then he starts to work Shara against the fence in round 2 and round 3, wearing him down, breaking him down in classic Marc-Andre Barrios style. However, let's not forget Marc-Andre got folded by Dustin Stoltzfus. And if we're being completely honest, getting folded by Dustin Stoltzfus is absolutely diabolical. It really is, man. If you're getting folded by Dustin Stoltzfus, it's unforgivable. You cannot forgive that. And guys, for that reason, I refuse to pick Marc-Andre against anyone who's good or even half good. And Shara Magomedov is certainly very good. So I'm going to pick Shara Magomedov to dominate this fight, to win round 1, to win round 2, to potentially find a stoppage at any point in this fight. If it goes to full 15 minutes, it's Shara Magomedov. Moving into the co-main event, we've got Petr No Mercy Yan, the former champion, versus the rising Marcus Mcghee. And here's my honest assessment of this co-main event. Round 1 is typically a round for Petr Yan that he drops. Round 1's not a good round for Petr Yan. I can show you not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I can show you like 5 or 6 examples where Petr Yan clearly loses round 1. So I'm going to assume that Petr Yan loses round 1. I would also assume that Petr Yan dominates round 3, because by then he's usually warmed up. He's usually flowing. He's usually going, letting his punches go. That's when he really starts to dominate in a fight. And by that point, I think Marcus Mcghee, he's going to be faded. So I'm assuming round 1, Marcus Mcghee. I'm assuming round 3, Petr Yan. So in this situation, it's going to be decided based on round 2. And I do believe round 2 is going to be somewhat of a close round. But I do expect 2 judges are going to give Petr Yan that second round, making it a 29-28 type of fight, potentially a split for Petr Yan. But I'll say this. If you see Petr Yan win round 1, you already know that Petr Yan's going to win the fight. If he does lose round 1, then it's just a matter of tying up the fight going into the final round. He has to be 1-1 after the second round, because we know Petr Yan is going to dominate that third round. So my prediction has to be Petr Yan to win the fight. It may be a close fight just based on Petr Yan losing round 1 and round 2 being somewhat close, but yeah, I'm going to say Petr Yan 29-28. The main event, we've got Robert Whittaker taking on REINIER the Ridder, RDR. So I think if Robert Whittaker can avoid the ground, he's probably going to outclass RDR on the feet. I like the way RDR consistently got in the clinch against Bo Nickal. He tied up Bo Nickal so many times, landing the knees to the body. You could really see the difference in experience in that fight. But can he do that against someone as experienced and well-rounded like Robert Whittaker? If RDR gets Whittaker to the ground, I honestly see Rob Whittaker getting submitted. I see him getting wrapped up like a blunt. There's a very live possibility that RDR cashes that plus 300 submission. His jiu-jitsu, it's levels and levels above Rob Whittaker. But on the flip side, Rob's striking, his footwork, his timing, his power, his overall understanding of the striking realm is levels and levels above RDR. So in my opinion, if RDR is going to win, it comes down to getting Rob Whittaker to the ground. If Whittaker's going to win, it's all about keeping the fight standing. 25 minutes though, it's a long time. It's a long time, man. And RDR could get that takedown at any moment. It could be round 1. It can be round 2. It can be round 5. It can be any moment. And that's what makes betting on Robert Whittaker so risky. But something tells me, take the former champion. Take the guy that's been there and done it time and time again. So my prediction has to be the former champion, Bobby Knuckles, to get it done. Let's go. All right, my homies, drop down your main event, your co-main event, your straight bets, your parlays, your Money City comments. Drop all that stuff in the comment section below. And as always, keep your eyes to the sky, never glued to your shoes. Peace.